For the pledge, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, everybody, to the March 2nd meeting of the Board of Trustees, the Village of Tarrytown. We will begin with Board miscellaneous and liaison reports, rather. Anybody down this end?
I don't have any liaison reports, but as I was just speaking to Trustee Brown, I just came from a very sad occasion at the high school of a memorial for a young man who graduated from Sleepy Hollow in 2015, who died very suddenly and tragically yesterday. It's horrible, but it was what was really amazing was seeing these kids, these young adults. They came together very quickly. They were all in touch with each other, and they came together to support each other. And it really, really embodies what this community has fostered in these kids, and what we I think all hold dear. What we all hold dear. I wasn't. It's okay.
On TV.
You have to start over.
It's all right. Anyway, so I just thought it was important to share that. So,
Thank you.
because again, we have a lot of things to squabble about, but I think it's good to have perspective on that. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I just want to bring up some, are you doing the shredder, Drew?
You can do it. It's fine.
Well, because my seniors are watching, the shredder is coming this weekend, March 7th, Saturday, 10 to 1 at the Green Street parking lot, okay? So those of you, I know you're waiting for it, so here it comes.
Green Street is on the other side of the bridge.
It's on the other side of the H
Right.
Bridge on Green Street, yes. It's over by the tennis courts. The other thing I need to talk about a little bit is that, although you're probably feeling bombarded, will be the census that's coming. The 2020 census will begin doing their mailing very soon. Starting March 12th, I just want to explain that you will be receiving an invitation from the Census Bureau that says we would very much like you to think about filling out the census and doing it. And you will then receive as well a copy of the census that you can either fill in on that day, or you can go to a website on the U.S. Census Bureau, 2020census.org. You can fill it out, your census form on that, or you can do it by phone. If you do, there will be another reminder coming out on March 16th. So they have this progressively working on. If after that date, after March 24th, you have until to fill it out. If after that date you haven't filled it out, you will get a reminder postcard that tells you to fill it out. And if you don't fill it out by April 8th, you will receive a reminder letter and another questionnaire to fill out. If you don't do it then, April 20th through the 27th, you will get the final postcard reminder. And after that, if you have not filled out the census, you will be visited by the Census Bureau. So there's a lot of mailings coming your way. I encourage you all to fill it out the first time you receive it, because technically that should curb you from receiving any other reminders. Okay? If you have any questions, you can also call the village clerk.
And you can't overemphasize how important it is. I mean,
Are you
for a
kidding?
variety of reasons, and from a
It's
purely
incredibly
local,
important.
purely local perspective.
We have to be
our-
accurate because,
our sales tax
yep,
depends on
the
it.
amount of people that
So-
are reported living in this area will have a direct effect on how much sales tax we receive,
Yeah,
how much
right.
aid we will get from both the state and the federal government.
Which isn't much on
Well,
that end. The sales tax
Don't
is
downplay it now,
No, the
Drew.
sales tax is really important.
And in the 2010 census, there's not specifically Tarrytown, but in our general area, there was a very high rate of
Right.
underreporting
Right.
by in some areas up to 24%, which is huge.
So we're blaming the U.S. Postal Service for that. They never got their form, but so you can if you really ought to get something. I'll tell you where it's a really good resource for you too is at the library. So if you're having trouble as well, you can go to the library. They actually have U.S. Census laptops that you can log on, and they have people there who will be able to help you.
I just want to add one thing. You should definitely make sure you find the right form, but please beware of scams related to the census. They will never ask you for your social security number. They'll never tell you you owe any money. And you can only do it online. or that one form that you got in the mail. So please beware of,
You might get more
scams
forms,
related
though.
to the census.
From the census, yeah. So, the other thing was, just so you know, if you're considering joining the pool this summer, you can now purchase your pool pass. And the, what's the other thing? I think that's about it for me right now. If I think of something, I'll call you back. Thanks.
Nothing. Nothing to report.
Gary?
I wanted to say that I knew that there was going to be shredding this week because I have my Westchester Recycle Right app, and I got a notification. So, and I started to collect my boxes, so Westchester Recycle Right.
So
What's
the
what?
info
How
is
do you
what?
do
To
the
get the
app?
app?
Yeah.
Say it.
The app itself is called Recycle Right, and I don't.
All right,
Can you
Jude.
zoom in on the icon? It's really
It's
pretty.
available in the App Store.
It's
It's available in the App
in
Store.
both
It's
app
called
stores.
Recycle Right.
RIGHT?
Correct.
RIGHT,
Yes.
correct. And it's got a picture of a garbage can. And a
It's all right to
And
recycle.
it's more than just recycling as well, right?
No, it gives me
right.
when my garbage is gonna be picked up and when there were changes because of the holidays,
And you
and
can
I
also
knew
get
that the
reminders.
shredder was coming. I wanna get a reminder about the electronics though. Am I gonna get that on this? Cause I forget every year, so I'm looking forward to that.
It's also great because of the recyclopedia, so if you have something you're not sure what to do with,
Tells you how to dispose of or recycle things.
there's added value for if you've lived here for 20 years. There's still things you might not know about how to get rid of batteries or car battery or paint or whatever. You can use the app for that too.
And with that, I would like to talk to you about a film that's tomorrow. We're having our environmental film and discussion series at the Warner Library. It's being sponsored by TIAC, and tomorrow, March 3rd is tomorrow, Queen of the Sun is going to be playing at the library from 7 to 9. So please go and
Queen
see
of
it.
the Sun?
Queen of the
Not
Sun.
son of the Queen. Queen of the Sun.
Queen of the Sun.
And I just have one announcement. Just a reminder that the St. Patrick's Day Parade is on Sunday, March 15th. And the parade kicks off at 1:30 p.m. on Main Street, heads north on Broadway, and concludes around 3 p.m. on Beekman Avenue in Sleepy Hollow. So come out and watch, and don't try and drive on Broadway at that time, because it will be closed. And that's it. So there's no changes or additions to the agenda, but, well, there's one change is that we're going to have a public comment before we move on after the administrator's report. But first I'll go to Rich.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple of quick reports. I did mention to the board at the work session that I attended the Community Solar Partnership Symposium that was presented by the New York Power Authority with Westchester County, and we had the executive director of the New York Power Authority there, as well as he's the president and the CEO of the New York Power Authority, Gil Quinones, and County Executive George Latimer was also there. But one of the key things they're looking for is for communities to participate in this solar cooperative through New York State, through Sustainable Westchester. So as we discussed in work session, I'm going to be trying to put a list of possible locations together, which includes ground locations, open parking lots and things like that, where they could put solar arrays.
It's for municipalities.
It's for municipalities.
Yeah,
correct.
not the general public.
Well, I believe there are other alternatives and options available, but the focus is the biggest area, so
Okay.
we're trying to cooperate more.
It's also a means for municipalities to take advantage of what the subsidies that are out there, which often we can't because of the tax subsidies. So it sort of translates.
We cannot access the
Right,
tax
so it
subsidies.
sort of translate the tax,
Exactly.
it transfers the tax subsidies, well, the tax subsidies go to a private operator, and we
Correct.
participate with them and get some of the advantage of it.
Correct.
Is that where you would get covered parking with
You-
solar
you could.
panels?
You could,
Yep.
yeah, that's one of the thoughts that they have is to, which in addition to saving some money, would also provide protection against the sun and the
right,
snow
right.
and rain. So there's some possibilities out there that could be good.
The other thing I wanted to talk about, and I'm not going to read the 3 pages I have here, but as everybody knows, we are dealing with a situation. Right now, it is a warning regarding the coronavirus or COVID-19. The county, state, and federal governments, state and county health departments, and the Center for Disease Control are all coordinating to monitor the disease. There are roughly 100 cases nationwide, with one case in New York City consisting of a 39-year-old healthcare worker returning from abroad who is right now quarantined or kept apart from the rest of the population. So it is important for everybody to stay informed, do not be alarmed, and don't overreact. That's one of the key things, is that share facts, not fear. There is an entire coronavirus whole set of facts and information on the CDC, or the Center for Disease Control's website. Diseases can make anyone sick regardless of race or ethnicity. The risk of getting COVID-19 in the United States is currently very low. Someone who has completed quarantine or been released from isolation does not pose a risk of infection to other people. You can stop COVID-19 by knowing the signs and symptoms: fever, cough, shortness of breath, which in people who already have an underlying health condition could lead to pneumonia. And there are simple things you can do to keep yourself healthy. Wash your hands often with soap and water, or if you don't have that available, they say with a 60% alcohol and water solution. The main thing is really just to be cautious. They're actually encouraging people to reduce contacts through things like shaking hands. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth with unwashed hands. Stay home when you're sick and cover your mouth, cover your cough or sneeze with a tissue, and then throw the tissue in the trash. So the village is going to be issuing regular updates on this matter. We will post this information sheet on our website, and if and when we have to give further updates from either the county or the state or the federal government, we will do so.
If I could just comment on that.
Yes, sir.
Excuse me. Just so people understand, we're going to hear about a lot more people testing positive. And just remember, it's actually because we just are able to test as of really the last couple of days, where the CDC really is allowing the states to test.
Yes.
So there's going to be many more people. There's been very few people tested.
Yes.
And there's going to just be a lot more testing, so there will be more people who are positive. People who are, just because people are positive doesn't mean that, like, including the woman who is in quarantine, she's at home, she has mild symptoms, and the precautions that Richard just spoke about are general flu precautions that we should all be practicing all the time for public health. So just more about being mindful, and don't, just again, there will be more cases identified. That doesn't mean that there's anything, but there's more cases than there are right now. It's just that we have the testing, which is a great thing. We're able to test.
I also point out that there's that Phelps is holding a meeting with leaders of law enforcement, EMS, local governments, business and civic organizations, schools, health facilities, and organizations supporting any form of mass gathering on Wednesday. So we're going to be sending that
contingent to attend that. Okay.
Yeah, more? No.
That's all I have for now.
Okay. Before we begin, we'll have a public comment from Chick Colella. If you wanted to come and speak, and let him get up first. Well, I guess, Chick, you'll introduce yourself.
Yes,
And your, yeah.
move is fast. Can't chase anybody. My name is Armando Ciccola. I reside in North Sleepy Hollow, New York, in North Tarrytown. I've been there all my life, raised there, not born there, raised there. I thank you very much for allowing me to speak to you tonight. I just have one thing that's very dear to my heart. I go to schools, colleges, grammar schools, high schools. I present this banner, and I say to them, if you could tell me what this banner represents, I'll give you $2. No one, but no one,
Now I do.
knows what this
Now we know.
stands for. This is a Gold Star Mother's banner. A banner given to the mother who lost a son or daughter in the service. They put it in their window. It's a damn shame that they don't remember. I grew up, beat me neighbor, I go tired. You can understand that people don't know what a Gold Star Mother is. That's a shame. A mother grieves forever. And I come before this board as a veteran to ask if you would consider putting a Gold Star statue in Patriots Park, the sum of $12,000. But I don't want you to do that alone. I think you should also ask the village of Sleepy Hollow to to share in that expense. If that's not the case, come to me again and I see what I can do.
Okay.
But $6,000 in the budget doesn't mean nothing. It's about 50 cents or a dollar.
We will
So-
definitely take it under
So,
serious
it's
consideration
not-
too.
But it's close to my heart. It took me about 4 months to find out anybody who makes a Grove Star Mother banner. This is the one. She's holding a flag.
Mm-hmm.
You can choose whatever you want, but if you put, there is no statue in Washington.
Yeah.
Do you know that?
Mm.
They budgeted money for it, but they didn't put it up. What kind of a people are they? That putting a statue for their mothers. That's terrible. I just want you to thank you very much for considering it, and then go right next to this other banner. There's room for it. So if there's any questions you'd like to ask me, I'd be happy to go. Any questions?
Chuck, thank you so much for your time and presentation to come in and talk to us tonight.
It takes me a lot of time in my age. I'm a committee of one.
You're gonna drive, right?
Come in. I had my
Yeah.
overdrive. Thank you
But
very,
thank
very
you.
much.
We will definitely
Thank you very,
take this
very
under-
much for considering.
Jake, how old are you now?
99.
99 years old,
Yeah.
and you survived Pearl Harbor, December
Survived
7th,
Pearl Harbor.
1942.
Also served in the island Tinian people. I was on the island Tinian Saipan. I was on the invasion of Okinawa. We were attached to the 1st Marine Division. I received the Bronze Star in Okinawa.
You're a hero.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
But this is close to my heart. If there's anything I can do, if I have to do it
Okay.
for myself, if I have to do it, I will do it.
We do have a
Okay.
gold star
Thank you
mother in
very
Terrytown,
Yeah.
Violet
Yeah,
Manka.
Violet.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time. Thank you very much.
Okay. Our next item is a public hearing, architectural review board requirements, actually a public hearing that we're going to continue. Can I have a motion to open the public hearing?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Can I have a motion, well, I'll do the motion. Be resolved, the Board of Trustees of the Village of Tarrytown does hereby continue the public hearing to Monday, March 16th, 2020, the next regular meeting of the Board of Trustees. There's some tweaks we have to put in place. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Next, we have a public hearing, local landmark designation. Can I have a motion to open the public hearing?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
You guys want to get up again?
Good evening, everyone. For the record, my name is Stephen Rabel. I'm with the law firm of Keller, Goldberger and Stout, and I'm here tonight on behalf of 17 Washington Hill LLC. We appeared before you last month to start the public hearing. We're seeking a historic landmark designation for the masonry facade structure at 17 North Washington Street. So we're here for continued public hearing. If you have any
Yeah.
questions.
I think all our questions were explored, I believe, unless somebody has something else. No, and there's clearly nobody from the public who wants to comment, so I think we're good. Okay, so we're gonna move the resolution. I have a feeling it's gonna be voted affirmatively, but,
Excellent, thank you.
can I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
All in favor? Okay. Be it resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Tarrytown does hereby approve an amendment to the Village Code of the Village of Tarrytown, Chapter 191, entitled Historic Landmark Designations for the purpose of designating certain elements of the brick warehouse building at 17 North Washington Street as a local landmark designation, and whereas a public hearing was held for the proposed action on February 3rd, 2020, and February 18th, 2020, and whereas a notice of public hearing was published in the Journal News on February 6th, 2020, and whereas the Board of Trustees of the Village of Tarrytown is the only agency which has approval authority over the proposed action and is therefore the lead agency for the proposed action, now therefore be it resolved as follows. In accordance with Article 8 of the State Environmental Conservation Law and 6 NYCRR Part 617, including without limitations the criteria set forth in 6 NYCRR Part 617.7C, and based upon review of the proposed action, the Village Board of Trustees hereby determines that the proposed action will not have a significant adverse impact on the environment and hereby adopts a negative declaration. And now therefore be it further resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Tarrytown does hereby adopt local law number 3 of 2020. Sure.
Where it says will not have a significant adverse impact. It is a type 2 action,
Okay.
so you don't even need a negative declaration.
Oh, so as how say how it would be amended, so I can say as amended?
So, the proposed action is a type 2 action and no further action is required, no further review is required under secret.
Okay. As amended, can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
You got it. Thank you. There's no other members of the public here to speak on agenda items, so we'll move along. Next item is we're correcting the date of the budget work session. Be it resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Tarrytown does hereby correct the date of the 2020-2021 tentative budget work session from March 26, 2020 to April 1, 2020. So the tentative budget work session will be April 1, 2020 at 6:15 PM at this building. Got a motion?
Second.
All in favor? Also, change the date for the public hearing on the station overlay zone. Be resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Tarrytown does hereby further adjourn the public hearing on the proposed local law for the station area overlay zone from April 6, 2020 to May 18th, 2020 to allow the consultant and staff time to redraft the law.
So moved.
All in favor? Appointment of the Village of Tarrytown 150th Anniversary Committee Member. Be it resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Tarrytown does hereby appoint Jonathan Marshall as an additional member of the Tarrytown 150th Anniversary Committee for a term to expire in December 2021.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Which that number is really up there, right? We have, what, 20, 25 people who are working on this?
Yeah, a lot of people came out.
Closer to 20.
Yeah,
20?
that sounds about right.
Yeah, 20 or 25.
About 20?
Even so, we will need more going forward.
Right.
All hands on deck, everybody can help.
All right, we have an appointment of a member of the Tarrytown Municipal Housing Authority Board. Be it resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Tarrytown does hereby appoint Sadie McEwen as member of the Tarrytown Municipal Housing Authority for a term to expire in December of 2024.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
I don't know if Sadie will mind, but it's so interesting. She's celebrating her.
She did.
Yes.
Yes.
So she's celebrating her 14th birthday because
Yes.
her birthday was February 29th.
She's a leapling.
She's very precocious.
Yes.
You turn on your thing.
Happy birthday, Sadie.
You're off.
Give your,
Oh.
all
Say
your-
it again.
Say it again. So, happy birthday to our Sadie McGowan, who's actually celebrating her 14th birthday because her birthday is February 29th. So, happy birthday to you,
You
Sadie.
just told her age.
Right.
Right.
She's 14.
Ixnay on the age.
I don't think
okay?
she's hiding it.
Right. She's 14. Weren't you
Right.
listening?
All right, Fire Department membership changes. Be it resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Tarrytown does hereby approve the following Fire Department membership changes recommended at the February 18th, 2020 Board of Fire Wardens meeting. Members, John Stolowski has been approved for out-of-town active membership at Phoenix Hose. Steve Mustachi has resigned as active membership from Consolidated Engine. Second?
Second?
All in favor? Building Department Engineering Intern, extension of a work agreement. Be resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Tarrytown does hereby authorize extension of the work agreement with Mariana Reyes as Building Department Engineering Intern at an hourly rate of $25 per hour with hours not to exceed 17 and a half per week through May 1, 2020.
Second.
All in favor? Appointment of a part-time court attendant. Be resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Tarrytown does hereby appoint Martin V. Finneran III to the position of part-time court attendant on a substitute basis, effective March 3rd, 2020, at a salary of $25 per hour. He shall be updated and published by the appropriate departments and village staff as part of the village's master fee schedule.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
And the Village of Tarrytown rules and regulation for the Tarrytown Pool Complex. Now, I am not going to read these, as there are probably 30 of them or more. But these will be attached to the minutes of this meeting and posted at the pool, for sure, and be available on the website. I'll read the first paragraph. The rules and regulations, the general policy statement rules for residents-only use of the Tarrytown Pool Complex. The rules and regulations of the Tarrytown Pool Complex are guidelines that are enforced to ensure the safety and well-being of patrons who visit our pool complex. The complex is a public facility to be enjoyed by the membership and their guests at their convenience, not as a care babysitting facility. The Village of Tarrytown reserves the right to confiscate, suspend, or revoke the membership of any patron who abuses the pool facilities, abuses pool rules, or abuses pool staff.
So
And then
moved.
the's a long list. Can I have a motion?
So
Tom,
moved.
second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
18.
Yep. Gotta go through several pages. One thing I guess I'll mention, the main pool hours that are in the rules are Monday through Friday, 12 PM to 8 PM. This is when the pool's open. Saturday and Sundays, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. The main pool will close 15 minutes prior to 8 p.m., and the waiting pool hours are Monday through Friday, 12 p.m. to 7 p.m. Saturday and Sunday, 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. And now we got the minutes. Approved? Yes. Okay, and there are no members of the public here, so I will take a motion for adjournment.
Do you want to have any kind of discussion about the Wilson Park path?
At this point, I
Or
think it's
refer,
too
refer
premature.
it to the TIAC and Rec Commission for their input?
Wasn't it premature? I
Or
think
we'll
we're a little
put it on the
premature.
next work session again?
Yeah, I think it's premature because we want to get some
I
idea.
wanted to know what the,
Oh, I don't think
next
we've had enough
steps
of a
are.
discussion, yeah.
that's fine. So the next work session.
Yeah, because I think we need to discuss it one more time and maybe have some other information to talk about. Okay, good night, everybody. Did I get a motion for adjournment? I can't remember.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay.